Hello, I'm Hector Elizondo, Emmy Award-winning actor, and I want to talk to you about getting older. My body hurts, my joints ache, and sometimes I forget. I forget that doing all your own scenes for a movie isn't always the best decision. Especially when you're galloping side-saddle down a countryside road on a horse named Archibello, who seems to have only one speed, high. And pulling on his reins only seems to encourage him to go even faster. So, of course, my body hurts and my joints ache, but it's not because of my age. It's because I'm living my life. Oh, Archibello!
Don't let life pass you by. Take care of your brain health. It may just help you stay on top of your game.
As soon as this scene wraps, I'm going to kiss the ground, thank Archibello for his outstanding performance, feed him a carrot, and visit brainhealth.gov.
Find out how you can make the most of your brain as you age at brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of people with pets say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Turns out that those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number, 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddles or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months old. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. A good Thursday morning to you, one and all. Here it is, Thursday, January number 11 in the year of our Lord 2018. Actually, today and tomorrow, I think I have a couple of long, well, no, I wouldn't say old, because age-wise they're not old, because I don't consider myself to be old, but long-standing friends' birthdays are coming up over the next few days. I think I have like 4 in a row. Believe it or not, I've got yes, 4. I have friends that his birthday is today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Thank God they're not all in the old time party mood. Where we always go out to the clubs or the bars to celebrate, because that would be. We did that in college. I knew 3 of them back in college. The one of them I didn't know, but yeah, it was like a 3-day. Yay! Let's go out and celebrate. It's your birthday. My birthday isn't anywhere near January, so we're not celebrating mine. But 4 in a row. Does anybody else have friends or family like that? Who have, I mean, you just actually have a birthday day after day after day after day. I don't. Nowhere else in the calendar does that happen. That I know of, just on 2 of the friends I don't live near anymore. One of them is close by, but and one of them is in the same town, but that I live in. He's up here in the greater Concord area, and one lives out in the Keene area. And the other 2, they have moved away. They live out, one lives in the D.C. area. He is believe it or not, he's an assistant general manager at a major hotel. And another one is down in Florida. I expect him to be back, because everybody goes to Florida, comes back. They find out Florida's not all that it's cracked up to be. Especially this year with the weather being that it is. And being as cold as it is. Today here in northern New England, here in the Great Granite State, we are warming up somewhat for the rest of the week, I guess. We're expected, although we may expect to get some snow over the next couple of days, or possibly even rain, because it's going to be in the 50s tomorrow. And then it's going to plummet down into the 30s for Saturday. Which, if it gets to the freezing level, it's going to create all kinds of problems. Now, rain means it's going to be warm. 50s is going to be warm. So there's going to be warming and melting of all the snow that we've gotten in December and January. Add that with rain, it's going to be a mess. But it happens every year. This is no. I know you got some people out there saying, "Well, see, the weather's all screwed up." No, this is pretty typical. At least this is pretty typical around here in New England. Now, I don't think this really happens out west in the Rockies. Like once the snow falls and it gets cold, it's done for a few months. It's not going to warm up into the 40s and 50s in January, February out there in Colorado or Utah in the Rockies and stuff. So on. I've never been there. I should say I've never lived there, so I wouldn't know. But if you're out west, you're in the Rockies, you're in Colorado, you're in like Utah, parts of northern Arizona, Idaho. Does it ever warm up in the middle of winter, or in Minnesota, the Dakotas, Montana? I don't ever remember it when we were in Michigan, northern Michigan, that it did this. Once it was cold, it was just cold. I mean, does it do it now for you if you're out there? Does it warm up temporarily? Do you get an Indian summer in those kinds of places? Or once it gets cold and the snow falls, it stays until like April or May? Is that still the case? Or has that always been the case? And has there always been a chance of... See, this is where you have to be careful. Because we don't live everywhere. So a lot of times you'll get these people that'll get on TV or get on the news and talk about global warming and man-made climate change and all that other kind of bullshit. And we tend to want to believe it or buy into it because we don't live there. We've never lived there. We've probably never been there. So they give us all these facts that is really fiction about the local area, about different local areas all over the country and all over the continent. And then you start talking to people who've actually lived there all their lives, or who have moved there recently, or have been there for a little while, and they're scratching their head and they're thinking, we don't know where he's talking about. Evidently, he says here, but that doesn't happen here, or this happens here instead. So it's kind of amazing when you start listening to these people talk, and then you listen to people who have always been there give you anecdotal and a lot of times actual factual, real back-upable, if that's a word, facts, historical facts and data about the area. And it doesn't match anything with the so-called professional or learned person is talking about. I got a little chastised the other day because what's his name? The smart guy. I got a little chastised by calling Stephen Hawking an idiot. No, he's a very educated man. Well, there are educated idiots out there, No, I'm not saying that the man is not a brilliant fit. No, it's not he doesn't run in, I don't run in his world. And I have to say his world because he's considerably older than I am. I don't run in his world. He's evidently a very learned physicist. But I could name a few things that Albert Einstein has done. And I could name a few things that other learned men of science in history have done. I really can't tell you what Stephen Hawking has come up with. But he's just considered and construed as being one of the smartest men on the planet that ever lived. I don't know. Maybe he designed his. Now I'm not making fun of his disability, but maybe did he design his wheelchair contraption? I mean, his mind actually controls just about everything on that chair, including his the robotic voice. He copyrighted that robotic voice too, if I'm not mistaken. That's it. You can't use it. That exact voice, I guess you can't use because he patented or copyrighted it or something. It's his. I have nothing to say against that. I mean, great for him. But I don't know if he developed that type of a system. And frankly, if we're capable, if that's capable of happening, that type of system, wheelchair system, why don't more people have it? I've always asked that question. Wait a minute, Stephen Hawking has this. Why don't more people? I mean, I'm sure it is probably expensive, but why don't more people in his position have such a thing? Is that a legit question or not? I don't know. Maybe the cost is prohibitive, and that's the reason why. Look, I don't know how wealthy or poor Stephen Hawking is. I don't know much about his personal life. I didn't watch that movie about his life. And speaking of movies about lives, did you hear the brouhaha behind the Versace murder? Evidently, the Versace family, for whatever reason, is not liking the movie about Versace's life and death. Well, I mean, they're very adamant about it. Yeah, but there's a couple of stories. I got a couple of stories here. I'm not going to go into great detail about it. There are a couple of stories here about how they really dislike this movie. Kind of almost makes me want to watch it to see what the big brouhaha is. Almost. I'm still not going to waste my time watching it. Well, if you want to, that's great. I'm not going to hold it against you. But I also noticed that some of the headlines that surround this movie call it an assassination. But why do we got to say it's an assassination? Was Versace, was he really that important? Was he a political leader? I think it was just a murder. Again, people taking leeway and privilege with words and changing the meaning. An assassination is a specific kind of murder. Did the Versace murder measure up to the actual meaning of the word assassination? I don't know, but it depends on what the life of Versace was. It is Versace, right? Am I pronouncing that right? I don't get into, again, I'm not a label whore. I think I've mentioned that here before. And I didn't create that word. I've heard that word that term being used a couple of times around here in the Boston area. People, yeah, I'm a label whore. When I first heard it, I'm like, what the hell is a label whore? Well, honey, you've got to have the right label. Well, what if it's just the right look? If it's not the right label, it's not the right look. Honestly, that's what I've been told. Well, you know what? I'm not a label whore. I don't need to overspend for a name in order to feel good about myself. But you go right ahead and spend your hard-earned cash on that kind of stuff. But I just, what? You got all those people in a row. I'm just looking in the chat room. One of my super fans, Chris, it looks like she's got like 15 days straight of birthdays, one after the other, literally almost. Well, that'll keep you drunk. Just saying. So I guess my 4 in a row is not such a big deal after all, at least not to her. When you go, there's only a few breaks in those days. In any case, it seems like she's straight out in March, huh? Well, what goes on I mean, I know why a lot of people are born in say, like May. But what goes on in August or July for so many people to have been born in March? I mean, it's warm weather in July and August, right? They should be out and about. Just saying. But I hope you don't celebrate the adult beverage, because you'll be 2 weeks no reprieve, 2 weeks of just being totally inebriated. In any case, we're going to get into this morning some stuff about Donald Trump is in the news. He's in the news every day. President's in the news even when he's not trying to be in the news, he's in the news. But this is some good stuff out there. Why he's in the news? We have more news about the deep state. This more swamp monsters are taking a break. What Walmart is doing in response to the Trump tax plan, and so much more. You are not going to want to miss a single second of it. So stay there, wherever you are. If you're driving, of course, keep driving. Get where you're going, but don't change the dial.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Around the town when folks are snacking,
Bell's the brand you'll find them packing.
the great taste tells. If it's Bell, it's swell. At parties, dinner, or when you're lunching,
Bell's the brand that gets you crunching.
the great taste tells. If it's Bell, it's swell.
The potato chip that's made today is fresh today to be crisp today. So dip away, eat them any old way, and let the chips fall where they may.
In the bag or boxed in the pack,
Bell's the one that keeps you coming back.
'cause great taste tells. If it's Bell, it's swell. Bell, swell.
And welcome back. What we've got here is we've got more people in the swamp. There have been a number. This is not the first time this sort of thing has happened before, by the way, where we've got a bunch of people who've been in Congress for a long period of time who are deciding to hang it up for whatever reason. Well, it's probably because they see their prospects outside of Washington D.C. They've taken Washington D.C. for its full ride for all they can earn, and now they think they can get out there and on the outside and earn even more because of their time in D.C. Representative Darrell Issa is said to retire, adding to record GOP exodus from Congress. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing. The problem is that now you have a lot of people who are thinking, well, this is a great time for the Democrats to jump in there and take over because so many Republicans, incumbent Republicans, who probably wouldn't have had any issues whatsoever of retaining and winning the seat, now the seats are going to be open. Well, the good thing is that it's the swamp monsters are self-draining themselves. And two, now there is a no excuse opportunity for the people in these districts to nominate and elect real constitutional loving Republicans. And plain and simple. Now, I say Republicans because even if you have a Democrat who is what they might consider or might construe as a conservative Democrat, they're still going to be on the liberal side of things. And they're going to caucus most of the time, even on important issues, with the Democratic Party, which is why they're Democrats. So we don't want to put in a Democrat. I don't care if it's a so-called conservative Democrat or not. We don't want to put in replace a Republican seat with a Democrat. But this is a good not for flaky people. Now understand there can be flaky people that can, and don't. This happened the last election cycle, last two election cycles actually, and it's not when it really got noticed. It's not to say that it hasn't happened in the past before, because it has, where we had a bunch of Democrats disguised as Republicans that were tossed into the Republican side on the Republican ticket to try to help. This is what they're trying to do now. This is one of the new tactics that you got to be watch out for. If you get some sort of what we call a liberal Republican, understand that they are probably a Democrat in wolf's clothing or in sheep's clothing. And these people really are, playing, remember Arlen Specter from Pennsylvania? Anybody? Arlen Specter? Yeah. Arlen Specter was once a Democrat that became a Republican, but he never left the Democratic Party. If you look at Arlen Specter's record, I mean, they call him a nonpartisan kind of No, it's not that he was nonpartisan. He was a freaking Democratic liberal. That for whatever reason, he felt the need to switch to the Republican Party so he could keep his power and his seat in Pennsylvania, because he was more likely to keep it as a Republican versus a Democrat. It didn't change what his political views were. He was still a Democrat. So this is what they learned from Arlen Specter and realized that this could happen and they could do this. And that they're going to start putting more and more of these kind of people up for election to try to split the Republican vote. Don't fall for it. If you're in one of those districts where your person is vacating the seat, your incumbent, don't fall for the Democratic trap. Remember to understand you're looking for the most conservative person who can really win, has a real shot at winning, that's available to you. Now, I have to put that in there because some people will tell, hey, yeah, this guy is really conservative. Yeah, he's going to garner all of maybe 10 votes. He has no shot of winning. So why would you do that? To make a statement? No, the voting booth is not a place to make a statement. We've made statements before, and look, we made a statement twice. And look what it did to this country. It's called Barack Obama. The voting booth is not a place to make a statement. Unless the statement is to say, well, we're going to protect the Constitution, we're going to believe in the Constitution, and we're going to elect people who are going to do the will and the bidding of the people of their districts. That's the statement that you make. You don't make a statement, a hissy fit or childlike tantrum to make a statement in the voting booth. Because if you do, you get Barack Obama and a bunch of Democrats that no way in hell should be elected or reelected. I'm just saying, that's not the place to make a statement. You want to make a statement, go stand on the street corner with a sign. We've had plenty of people do that. Ever see those people? I mean, at first you think that they're the vagabonds, the beggars, and then you read the sign and you realize, oh, they're making a political statement. That's the place. That's the time and place to make a statement, not in the voting booth. Because otherwise, you end up harming yourself. You end up harming your posterity, and you end up harming your community and your state, and in turn, you end up harming your country. I know some people are saying, posterity? My posterity is just fine. I go to the gym every day, Rod, to work on my posterity. You know that there are people who actually think that's what that word means. You know it. You know it to be true. It's sad. We'll be back.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
So you've got Daryl Issa out there who is saying that he's calling it quits. Now, Daryl Issa is from California. I believe he's from Northern California. Well, he's a California Republican. But he's calling it quits. Well, to be frank with you, that is one seat that I do worry will flip in this November. If Daryl Issa is not the one that the folks will be voting for, but he's not the only one. I mean, there are a number. Frankly, there are three Republican senators that are calling it quits. Now, you got to also understand that these are people that are frustrated because they're most of them are swamp monsters. And they're frustrated they've thrown everything that they possibly could have at Donald Trump. And now they realize that the people want Trump. You know, the voters want Trump. And they're selfish because they're basically, you know, they're taking their toys and going home. Well, fine. If you don't want my kind of person in there to be president, I'm going to go home. That's basically it. Because they've thrown everything that they possibly can at Trump, and his approval numbers, his real approval numbers, his support, it isn't waning. In fact, it's going up. I mean, you would think that this is the time that these people would really want to be in the swamp because they're about to, you know, they're about to be kingmakers here. Honestly, with what's going on, they just can't have an outsider like Trump actually be successful. They can't deal with it. But you've got three of them in the Senate. You've got Bob Corker from Tennessee, Flake from Arizona. Flake who's just a flake anyway. And Orrin Hatch of Utah. And Orrin Hatch has been there for like 40-some years. It's time for him to go anyway. He's an old man. He's kind of, you know, it's just 40 years in the Senate. That's not the way the system was originally designed. But so those three Republicans are bowing out in 2018 in the Senate. In the House, there is a plethora of people, including, according to this list, including one of my representatives in the House, Carol Shea Porter. Now, frankly, I'm happy to see her go. If that's true, I'm happy. She never even should have been elected, to tell you the truth. I'm just saying. She never should have been elected. I mean, the woman is a nasty, foul-mouthed, ultra-liberal idiot, frankly. But in any case, we've got a number of Republicans that are calling it quits, along with a few Democrats. Nowhere near. Nikki Tsongas out of Massachusetts is also calling it quits. Now, that's I think Nikki Tsongas. I'm not in Massachusetts, but correct me if I'm wrong, Massachusettsans. Nikki is not the wife of the much beloved Tsongas family, but is the daughter? Maybe it's his wife. Well, the widow. It's not, maybe it's his. I don't know. But it's got name recognition with Tsongas, Tsongas. In fact, there's the Tsongas Arena, I think is what it's called, in Lowell. You know, everybody in Massachusetts just loves the name Tsongas for whatever reason. But who we're losing on the Republican side is we're losing Joe Barton out of Texas, Charlie Dent out of Pennsylvania, John Duncan out of Tennessee, Blake Farenthold and Bob Goodlatte out of Texas and Virginia, as well as Greg Harper out of Mississippi, Jeb Hinserling out of Texas, Issa out of California, Lynn Jenkins out of Kansas. Sam Johnson out of Texas is retiring. Frank Lobiondo out of New Jersey. Ted Poe out of Texas. Dave Reichart out of Washington. Got some news about Washington State, too, by the way, we're going to get into. Wait till you hear this. Elena Ross Lethanen, out of Florida. Ed Royce out of California. Bill Schuster out of Pennsylvania. Lamar Smith out of Texas. Dave Trott out of Michigan. Are all the Republicans calling it quits this year. So, as being reported by USA Today, for the Democratic side, we're looking at John Delaney out of Maryland, Gene Green out of Texas, Luis Gutierrez out of Illinois. You're also losing Sander Levin out of Michigan, Ruben Kihune out of Nevada, that's Kihuen, out of Nevada, is calling it quits. Carol Shea Porter out of New Hampshire is calling it quits, and Nikki Songus out of Massachusetts is calling it a day. So far, and we look there now. When you get to the Democratic side, most of them are quitting because they really I'm not going to say Nikki Songus. But most of the other Democrats are quitting because they honestly believe that they're going to lose. This is why they're quitting. Because they think that they're going to lose. They think that the seat is going. They don't want to be responsible for the seat flipping on their watch. Because these are places, a lot of these places, like Pennsylvania, these are places that support Trump. Even if Clinton, I think she won in New Jersey, Clinton won New Jersey, but even though she, in certain states where she won, and the vote was close, the reality is that there may have been some voter fraud going on in some of those states where Clinton won. But you're looking at places like Michigan, looking at places like Texas. Well, a lot of these Democrats in these places really honestly think that they're not going to win, which is why they're leaving town. And a lot of the Republicans, it isn't that they think they're going to be primaried and that they're not going to win. A lot of the Republicans, just honestly, they're embedded swamp monsters, and and people know who they are. They've done their best to obstruct Donald Trump's agenda, and they failed. So maybe they are afraid of being primary. But I don't know if Issa was afraid of being primaried, but he's really just sick and tired. He's a swamp monster, swamp monster du jour. He's just. By the way, speaking of swamp monsters, Orrin Hatch. Evidently, Mitt Romney has gone through some. Was it prostate cancer surgery? So he's. Prostate cancer is one of those. I'm just beside myself in trying to figure out and understand how Western or American men are falling prey to this. Really, the easiest way to defeat prostate cancer, not get it, prevent it, is just eating roughage. Getting fiber. That means you got to eat more than just meat, guys. Sorry to say, just meat and potatoes isn't going to get it. You got to eat some fiber. Even if you just take a damn fiber pill, they have the Metamucil. This is why those commercials like Metamucil, they're trying to say it helps keep you regular. The reality is, for guys, it's not just the regular part; it's the anti-prostate cancer treatment. Actually, is high fiber. It really is. And you just get some fiber, guys. Honestly, and you'll. Why is this such a problem today? And they say, well, it's genetics. No, it's BS on genetics. Just get your daily fiber. Get a lot of it. You really can't get too much of it. Let's face it. You get a lot. You know what fiber will do for some guys, especially? Ladies, women, girlfriends, and wives. If your guy's a little stinky, I mean, if he is very flatulent, you're gonna want to sneak him in some more because what that'll do over time, the fiber will clean out all that gunk that's trapped in. I know it's a little disgusting, but I'm being serious here. It'll clean out a lot of that gunk that's trapped in his intestines. That can it can ferment and do all kinds of things, and you'll make him healthier, as well as your air in your home will smell a hell of a lot better. I'm just saying, it's the truth. Just get him some fiber. Sneak it in any way you can. You can. I know of a couple where the wife snuck in some fiber into the husband, and this guy, he's I'm not eating all that junk and that fiber and blah blah blah. So she got stuff like Metamucil. It's supposed to be tasteless, odorless, or what have you, and she would mix it in everywhere she possibly could into his food. He didn't know it until one day he's like, you know what? I'm eating like I normally do. For some reason, my eyes are getting. I noticed my eyes are a little bit clearer, and I lost a little bit of weight, guys, and I'm not as. And he said I'm not as gassy anymore. I don't feel bloated. And we were actually playing poker at his house, and believe it or not, his wife actually played with us. And that's when, she had a couple of beers in her, and that's when she confessed, yeah, I've been mixing. At first, he was upset. He's like, woman, what do you... And we're like, really? We're all looking at him like, you're going to be upset? She just made you healthier. And you didn't even know it. So, but he didn't finish his statement. He must have caught himself and thought about it. He's like, huh, okay. Now, she still sneaks in extra fiber here, but he's now doing it himself. But yeah, that's all it takes, guys. Just sneak yourself in a little bit of fiber every day. Trick yourself. If you're the wife, again, or if you're the girlfriend and you want a cleaner smelling home, because right now it's foul smelling, just go out and buy a jar of Metamucil and start mixing it in his mashed potatoes, into his, sprinkling it on top of his steak along with, the spices. I just find creative ways to sneak the fiber in. In about a week or two, you'll start to notice the difference. And in about a month or two, he'll notice the difference, even though he won't even know what the hell's going on, but he will notice the difference. And you'll both be happier for it. So that's Mitt Romney is going through that right now, if I'm not mistaken, with the whole prostate and colon and stuff like that. So I mean, just it's a lot of this stuff. Now I know, knock on wood, because yay, Rod, it could happen to you. Yeah, even if you take care of yourself, disease happens. I get it, but why flirt with danger when it's such a simple way to reduce your risk? This is so simple. I mean, it's not a lifestyle change at all. Some other things, in order to reduce your risk, it may require a lifestyle change. Adding fiber to your diet today is not a lifestyle change at all. I mean, hell, just go out and have mashed potatoes every day. And in those mashed potatoes, just, take a teaspoon or two of Metamucil or whatever that stuff is and mix it in there. You'll not even know it's there. That's not a lifestyle change at all. I mean, you'll add other stuff to the mashed potatoes, so why not just add a little bit of fiber too? Seriously, it's not a bad thing. But our thoughts and prayers go out to Mitt Romney, and hopefully he recovers and whatever the issue is that he has. But will he run to take Orrin Hatch's place? I don't know. I don't know. At this juncture, I don't know. But there are a lot. Will Utah actually go for? Well, I mean, Mitt Romney's not exactly a swamp monster, but he is a liberal Republican. He's a moderate. And just because you're a moderate doesn't mean that you're a swamp monster. Now, Mitt Romney's just a nice guy. I mean, I remember when he was governor of Massachusetts. It was hard to dislike him. It really was. Believe it or not, it was hard for people to dislike Romney. I mean, they disagreed with his policy, sure, but it was hard to dislike him on a personal level. Everybody loved Mitt Romney. They may have disagreed with his policy. They may have not liked that he was a Republican in Massachusetts, but everybody loved Mitt Romney. Well, until the press said that, he left his dog on the top of his car. That caused all sorts of brouhaha. But he's well liked. But he's a moderate. Plain and simple. Will Utah replace... I guess Orrin Hatch is... Everybody used to think Orrin Hatch was a diehard conservative. I never really thought that. So will Romney replace him, or will Utah decide that they want somebody who's more of a pro-Trump, pro-Constitution conservative, not a moderate? Now understand, Mitt Romney is not a pro-Trumper. He's not. And folks, if you like Trump, you're gonna have to start putting in electing people who also like Trump and who are going to back up this president and his agenda, or else it's going to be a rough 2 years between 2018 and 2020.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
back. I'm often try to be a human. I'm not. What's that guy's name from the Police Academy movies? Who made all the sounds with his voice? I mean, he could do anything with that voice. Well, even sound like an instrument. But I can't do that, even though I fancy myself as being a. What is that called anyway? Not a ventriloquist, because ventriloquist is what Jeff Dunham does. There's a specific term for that, for what they, and you have some people who, you got people who can do it like a beatbox. I can never do the beatbox either. I know, turn in my African American urban card, because I can't do a beatbox, but I can. I sound like an idiot. I sound like a fool. I can't do beatboxing. But in any case, what we have here is, speaking of inner city, there's a new policy that is being put into effect coming out of the Trump administration, and it's now going to allow states to require some Medicaid recipients to work for their benefits. Now, Medicaid is not Medicare. Medicare is for senior citizens. Medicaid is for people who do not qualify for Medicare because they're not old enough. In other words, they're young enough and probably able-bodied enough to work. And now the new Trump administration policy, for the first time, states will be allowed to move toward requiring some Medicaid recipients to work in order to receive their benefits under new guidelines issued by Trump's administration. The policy shift by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services instructs states on how to compel able-bodied working-age Medicaid recipients in order to receive their benefits. In other words, I also got a story here that talks about how Finland is moving ahead with their basic income experiment, where they're just going to give out $16,000 a year to some 2,000 participants for the next 2 years just to see how it works. I think they're going to be, Finland is kind of, it's also one of the highest tax nations on the planet. I think they're also going to find out that people are just going to get lazy. Able-bodied people are just going to be lazy and not look for work. Hey, you don't have to work and you're still getting fed. Just look at our people. All the people who get benefits that don't have to work. And there are people that know how to work the system to get depending on your state. Can you imagine being on welfare and getting Medicaid and other services, food stamps and everything that equate to more than $30,000 a year? That's what's happening in some states.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A a promise of battles won.
Let's rock this joint!
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
As we continue on here on this Thursday, January number 11 in the year of our Lord 2018. Welcome back to this wonderful program that I like to call the Rod Eccles program, the Rod Eccles Show. Yes, welcome to you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all around the globe. It's another wonderful day in the neighborhood. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Wasn't that a Mr. Rogers thing? That wasn't Sesame Street, right? That was Mr. Rogers. Well, everybody knows Sesame Street. How many people know that Fred Rogers passed away a few years ago? And how many people know that Fred Rogers is actually a former Marine, believe it or not? Well, is he a Marine or Army? Is he Green Beret? He was an Army guy, and he was one of those kind of guys that once he was in, I think, the Korean War, and who's the painter? Bob whatever. Everybody know him, the painter. You know, the Happy Trees. He was also a military person on the front lines, and when they got home, they put down their guns and never picked them up again. And they became, I wouldn't say liberal. Well, I guess Fred Rogers would be a... notice, by the way, everybody loved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I haven't heard a single person come out and say that Fred Rogers was a pedophile. I mean, we got all these people, accusing other people all over the place of sexual predatory practices and of women and of boys and Fred Rogers, nobody ever accused Fred Rogers of any of that stuff. At least I didn't hear of anything. I remember watching him as a kid in the trolley, and he played half the puppets in the kingdom there. I can't remember. I can't remember all the names of all the different puppets, but it was a half hour of just. You want to talk about sugary niceness? It was just a half hour of niceness. Well, you didn't realize it when you're 5 years old watching that thing. You don't realize that, but that's exactly what it was. It was just a half hour of niceness. Nothing but good moral fiber and character being shown or given to you. But well, I mean, it is what it is. I was sad to hear his passing. I was. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were. I did not know that about it until around the time that he passed away, about his military service. Didn't know that he was in the military, that he was a as some people call it, a killer. He was. Now I heard a rumor he was actually a sniper. Was that also true? I have to go and look it up. I'm not sure. Yeah, but Fred Rogers, military person, and then to go from military, there you go. I'm being Mr. CS in the chat room is confirming that he was a Marine sniper. Can you fit? Hello, look at Mr. Rogers' life. Would anybody have ever figured that out? Would you have ever put Mr. Rogers in a ghillie suit with a sniper rifle. Well, you never know. But in any case, yeah, he was a Marine. Yeah, I had it right. They had it right. He was a Marine, a sniper. The same with oh my God, what is it? The painter's name with the happy trees, and how can I forget his name? Somebody last year for my birthday as a gag gift, they gave me a paint by number kit with him. I know. He would never go for paint by number, but that's what it was, a paint by number thing. In any case, he was also former military, for a deadly kind of military guy. When he got out, he put his rifle down and never picked it up again. In any case, but yeah, I had as a child, young child, I adored Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Again, another guy. I don't think I've ever heard a bad thing said about Fred Rogers. Bob Ross. Yeah, I knew my mind would come up with it. Bob Ross painting. Happy trees, and we made a mistake here, but it's not really a mistake. Yes, we'll just flare it up like this, and we'll just do this right here, and we'll just take this out and flare this out, and. Yeah, he was, again, one of those military types of people that he got out of the military, put his gun down, didn't pick it up again. And again, I don't know people who have anything bad to say about Bob Ross. Everybody liked him. Just one of those kind. Well, I'm in awe of people like that because I'm definitely not in that category. All you got to do is just go through my social media accounts and see that there are a lot of people, who genuinely dislike me. Don't even know me, but they genuinely dislike, which is fine with me. I don't really care, but it's just amazing how you can dislike somebody you don't even know, that have no effect on you whatsoever. Well, maybe I do have an effect on them. In any case, speaking of effects. Requiring people that are able-bodied to now. This is something that many Americans have asked for. That able-bodied people should start having to work for their benefits. I mean, at least look. We still have the chain gang, right? Where prisoners have to. Some prisoners have to earn their keep, so to speak. They put them out on the highways, cleaning up the side of the highways, the roadways, and that kind of thing. Cheap labor. Some call it slave labor. Saying, hey, if you're in jail, then, this is not a vacation. It's supposed to be there to be rehabilitated and to pay for your crimes. Well, you don't pay for your crimes by sitting on your duff all day long watching TV, playing cards. That's not paying in my book. But, yeah, so now the Trump administration, Medicaid needs to be more flexible so that states can best address the needs of its own population. Again, giving the power back to the states where it belongs because they're the ones that are best able to determine what needs to be done in their state. According to this story, the fundamental goal is to make a positive and lasting difference in the health and wellness of the beneficiaries, and today's announcement, which took place earlier this morning, is a step in that direction. So now you have to, if you're capable and able-bodied, you got to work. And they're not even asking for tough work. Well, I'm sure they won't. Well, I guess it's really going to depend on the state. The conditions would exclude individuals eligible for Medicaid due to disability. It would also exclude elderly beneficiaries and children and pregnant women. So in other words, this may lead to an explosion in the birth rate in some states because women will say, well, I'm pregnant and I got a newborn. I can't work. Well, hey, Some people might find that offensive, but look, we know for a fact that both white and black women have popped out babies just to get more and bigger benefits from the government. Look, there are people that admit that. By the way, whatever happened to Octomom? Anybody know whatever? You remember that woman? Yeah, I know. Didn't she also go for cosmetic surgery to look like Angelina Jolie? Yeah, she was a nut job. In any case, they've already received project proposals from 10 states that include employment and community engagement initiatives that include Arizona, Arkansas, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, and New Hampshire, North Carolina, Utah, and Wisconsin. Now, Maine is also a state that has changed where it could change. It's made its own changes to unemployment and other benefits, social benefits in that state. And and by doing so, they've seen a massive reduction in their social benefits payouts. They made some massive changes to their unemployment, to their and even to their some of their social payments like Medicaid and the food stamps and other social payments. And they made it clear that a lot of these sort of benefits weren't going to be lifelong anymore, or you had to actually either find a job or actually prove, like unemployment, like you were really honestly looking for work. And if you got a job offer, and the way they did, now I don't live in Maine, but from the way I understand it, is that you had to prove that you were looking for work. And how you proved it is you actually had to go on some interviews. And the interview, you actually had to bring the paperwork back. And it's specifically stated to the employer that if they didn't offer you a job, or they did. If they offered you a position and you didn't take it, your benefits were cut. I think that's how it worked up there. Again, I don't live in Maine, but that's the stories that I got, and I could be a little bit off on how it actually how the reality on the ground of it works. But I think that was the theory behind it. And they reduced their payout, their social benefits payout, by over 70%. And there isn't sure, there were some liberals up there who were, crying foul. Oh, they're going to hurt this and hurt that. But the reality is that the taxpayer up there absolutely loved it. Wait, our taxes aren't going to go up, and we got more people that are forced to work, and some people who are just looking for a handout, they fell off the rolls, or they moved out of the state. That's the whole point of it. So this is a Trumpian type of initiative to return some of the power back to the states, so the states can better control the amount of money that they have to, the money that they're spending out in these social programs, to make sure that those people who are fully capable and able-bodied are not taking advantage of the system anymore. We've got to weed out people. That this will also allow states to be more accurate in their finding illegal immigrants. I got a story here about a raid on illegal immigration too. Illegal. You're not gonna. Well, this is pretty funny. Where they actually pulled off another raid. Stay tuned. I'm going to tell you in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
So, yeah, Trump is doubling down on all this illegal immigration stuff. And, he's out there touting his low illegal immigration, low attempts. The number of people trying to cross the border illegally has dropped, well, because they really fear that they're going to be sent back. I had somebody tell me that found out a little bit later that this guy was just a liberal idiot. But there are a number of people that talk about border walls and yesterday I brought you the fact that there's one of the presidential candidates in Mexico they're calling him Mexico's Trump, but he's a real liberal and doesn't like the idea that we want to put up a border, and it could be real trouble for Trump as far as things like NAFTA and immigration is concerned. I say that's not a problem actually for Trump. It just makes it even easier. If he's going to be a hardliner and wants to push people across the border, then it makes it just easier for Trump to say, nope, but we're going to put up a wall everywhere. Mexico has a wall and a fence. And this guy tries saying, well, Mexico does not. It's no desert down there. It's all jungle. Well, the problem is that Mexico has cut down some trees, for one. And two, some of the pictures are not of a desert. And we do know there are pictures from Mexican soldiers that are on the net of them at their southern border wall and fence. Now, it doesn't run the entire length of between the two countries of Guatemala and Mexico, but there is one. And it is well known that, Mexican soldiers, they often shoot first, ask questions second if they catch you illegally crossing the Guatemalan Mexican border. So, I mean, that's just the truth. But here's one thing that you would not expect. If you got up yesterday or this morning in some states, 17 states actually, that's a lot of states, and you were going to get your coffee, and you don't normally go to Dunkin' Donuts, or you don't have a Dunkin' Donuts, and you don't normally go to Starbucks because they're just too damn expensive, but you like the cheap coffee because it actually is pretty good at gas stations and such. you may have come across a surprise and may not have been able to get it because immigration agents, ICE agents in 17, fanned out across 17 states and descended on 7-Eleven stores. That's right, including California. Yes, immigration agents filed into a 7-Eleven store in Los Angeles, California, before dawn yesterday morning, which was Wednesday, and waited for people to go through the checkout line and told arriving customers and a driver delivering beer, you can't even deliver your beer, to wait outside. A federal inspection was underway. Within 20 minutes, they verified that the cashier had a valid green card and served notice on the owner to produce hiring records in 3 days that deal with employees' immigration status. It was a well-rehearsed scene and executed with quiet efficiency in Los Angeles' Koreatown, played out at about 100 7-Eleven stores in 17 states and the District of Columbia. A rolling operation that officials called the largest immigration action against an employer under the Donald Trump presidency. Now Trump is going after employers that knowingly hire illegal immigrants. It is getting to the point now where it's not just, you don't even need, Trump is probably going to be so effective that some people are going to say, well, hey, we don't really need a wall to spend money on the wall because immigrants can't make it here. Illegal immigrants can't make it here because we're cracking down everywhere. Now, a top official at the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said the audits were the first of many and a harbinger of what's to come for employers. And citizens of this country have been saying, well, why don't we crack down on these employers that hire illegals in the first place? They're breaking the law themselves. Which is absolutely true. Unlike the other enforcement efforts that have marked Trump's first year in office, yesterday's actions were aimed squarely at store owners and managers, though 21 workers across the country were arrested on suspicion of being in the country illegally. Now, this is just, well, man, they went to 100 stores and only found 21 people. 21 people so far. Do you realize? Well, you went to 100 stores. That's a 21% hit rate. In a country that has laws against employers knowingly hiring illegal immigrants. That's a lot. And that's not even including the people, that are on the employment rolls that were not actually working at the moment. Now, just think about that. 21 people were actually working at the 100 7-Eleven stores that probably should not have been working there because they probably should not have be in the country at that particular point in time when they went in. Imagine how many of the employees, when the employer is told to hand over the employment records. Now, imagine how many of those might also. Could it be another 21 or 50? Think about that. Now, who is going to need to get the job, fill the jobs now of these people that have just been arrested and will probably be deported? Well, I mean, they're not exactly high-paying jobs, but is it a good part-time job for some people? Yeah. So who's gonna have to get them? Oh, legal immigrants and American citizens. Probably those kind of people who are in college, maybe, going to school, just graduated. Maybe they're in high school. It's a good part-time job. Maybe somebody who needs a second job to help make ends meet. That's what those kind of jobs are meant for. And now there's potentially at least 21 openings in 17 states. Go for it.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Ah! Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
So if you're working it now, this is not going to be the only place, evidently, where they're going to go to try to snag you if you're an illegal immigrant. 7-Eleven is not the only place. If you think that, well, you're thinking, well, I don't work in the fast food or the convenience store industry and you're an illegal immigrant, understand that this is the list of industries in which they are going to go after you to find you is endless. Now, there have been a couple of times in Massachusetts, not just under Trump, but definitely under Trump, it is happening in Massachusetts as well, where they've gone into manufacturing plants. Places where people have thought that there would be some illegal immigrants working, and they have carted people out. I mean, van loads of people in places. Well, we call them mini town, little Havana and little Dominica and things like that over in cities in Massachusetts like Lowell, in Lawrence, in Worcester, in Holyoke, which is a suburb of Springfield, Mass, in Chicopee, just another suburb of Springfield, Mass. Places like that in Brockton, where there is a high level of Latino presence. No, we should probably separate and make sure that we delineate the difference between Puerto Ricans and Latinos, because Puerto Ricans are citizens, thus they're not really Latinos. But I mean, I guess they are Latinos. But they're not, because they're natural-born U.S. citizens. So they have every right to be anywhere in the United States that anybody else is. And as I have mentioned on this program before, Puerto Ricans are not happy with illegal immigrants. The vast majority of Puerto Ricans, at least the ones that I know, have worked with, have come in contact with, have talked with, they don't like illegal immigrants. In fact, Puerto Ricans don't like Mexicans, really. Has anybody ever noticed that? I am not making this up. Folks, I am not making it up. There is some kind of rivalry going on between Mexico and Puerto Rico. This is why Mexicans don't try to get to Puerto Rico. You would think of all places they would want to go and try to blend in would be Puerto Rico. Mexicans don't go there. Why? Because Puerto Ricans don't like them. I was flabbergasted to find that out. I mean, it was unbelievable. What do you mean you don't like? We don't like Mexicans. I mean, they're your Latino Spanish-speaking brothers, and boy, I got an earful on that one. They are not. Basically, is what I was told. But now, well, are you going to say that a Puerto Rican who's Latino is a racist? You can't. Can you really be a racist against your own people, or your own kind of people? I don't think so. So it's not me saying it. It's Puerto. I'm like, wow, you guys are pretty hardcore here. Well, in any case, so they're not. Puerto Ricans are really not. Well, let's face it. Illegal immigrants give the Spanish-speaking people a bad name. That includes citizen Puerto Rican, who are actually hardworking people. They're not lazy. They don't ask for handouts, really. I haven't seen one or heard of any handouts coming, being demanded by the Puerto Ricans. Don't come to the mainland of the United States and demand benefits. You've noticed that? They don't. You don't hear many Puerto Ricans out there protesting, asking for more. But what do we got? We got an awful lot of illegal immigrants who brazenly run around out there, demanding their rights here in this country. We don't get Puerto Ricans who do that. Just saying. So you can expect to see and hear about more of these type of ICE raids on individual. They'll be targeting, whole corporations like they did 7-Eleven. This is what I am told. An insider. I have some inside information. Now, I'm not told who's next, or when it's next, but they will be targeting individual companies like think of 7-Eleven. They will be targeting individual companies like this ad nauseum for the next for the rest of this administration's tenure. So that means that we're going to see a lot. And if it means that you're cutting off the potential income stream of illegal immigrants, what are they going to do? They're going to go home because they have no possible way of making it here. I also have it under good authority that the Trump administration is starting to go through the federal benefits list, so that they're going to start catching illegal immigrants who are illegally getting federal benefits like, welfare programs and Social Security programs. They're going to start tracking these people down. Look, the possibility, we've heard all this time, from liberals, well, we can't deport all these people. We just can't. There's too many. Well, evidently, Trump is really we're not even trying to deport all the. Well, evidently, Trump is trying. We got I would say by the time, unless our wonderful court system slows everything up, much like the stupid Ninth Circus Court of Appeals judge that is. How do you take an illegal executive order from one president and tell another president that, you're not allowed to executive order that executive order out of existence? You can't do it. Since when? I mean, I seriously hope that the Trump administration is really going to take this judge to task and take him to the Supreme Court so that this Ninth Circuit can be spanked and slapped and smacked once again. The most overturned court in the land, the Ninth Circus. So that's where a lot of this stuff is going. Is Trump is saying, well, look, we're getting rid of illegals the best way we can with the resources that we have. And we're finding out that a lot of people are self-deporting because they can't honestly economically make it here because it's too difficult for them now. Some people are being caught and being, I think it's funny that they started the raid out in California. The sanctuary state. By the way, let that be a harbinger. I'm just saying here, folks. Now, I am not advocating this, but because even here in the state of New Hampshire, it is passed. I think it's just passed the House to make recreational use of marijuana legal in this state, and it looks like it will, if it goes through all the committees, and it looks like it probably will. By the end of the year, we should have a legalization of marijuana here in New Hampshire for recreational use, and there are some limitations. You could have, I think it's up to an ounce. One of the bills says up to an ounce. You could personally grow up to 6 pot plants legally here in New Hampshire. So that has cleared some of the first hurdles here in the state, and I think the House is either they did or they are expected to vote and pass on it, which would then send it off to a couple of other committees, Senate committees, where it would then be effectively voted on. And there are some people trying to stop it, saying, well, they didn't go through proper procedure and blah. It's pretty much a done. I haven't heard if our governor, Chris Sununu, is going to veto or pass it or not, or sign it or not. But it looks like by the end of 2018, New Hampshire will join the list of legal recreational pot states. However, this whole raid that just took place in 17 states, including the sanctuary state of California, should put folks in legalized pot states on notice. Ever since Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, said they were going to crack down on this stuff. So if you are in, big-time legal pot states, what is it, like Colorado? And now California, where it's not medical use, but it looks like they're going to try to crack down on recreational use. So I don't know exactly how he's going to do it, but if you think that the Fed can't do it, look what they just did in California with the immigration stuff. Sanctuary state. just made some raids. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, the federal government, it constitutionally doesn't need the permission of the state to come in. Because that's the job of the federal government, is to protect the states from and to protect our borders. And part of protecting our borders is going after people who illegally cross them, no matter where they may be within the country. So you're not going to be able to stop them. And you can have all this sanctuary city and sanctuary state stuff you want, and that's eventually going to change too, because they're going to courts, or the Supreme Court and other constitutional loving courts are going to reestablish the fact that the government does have federal government does have a certain constitutional duty, actually, to do some of the things that it is doing, especially when it comes to immigration and when it comes to drug enforcement, illicit drug enforcement. I'm just saying, folks, if you want, the thing to do is you're going to have, well, you're not going to get it out of Sessions, because Sessions is one of those, and I disagree with him. Sessions is an anti-illicit drug hawk. He is big on the drug war. And there are certain aspects of the drug war that I just do not agree with. And the war on pot is one of them. But hey, he grew up in a time period when pot was the devil. It is the devil, and he still believes that pot. You ask him, pot leads. It's a gateway drug, and all the studies that they've done to date so far show that cigarette tobacco is more of a gateway drug than pot is. And people will say, well, cigarettes aren't a gateway drug. Exactly. And a matter of fact, a lot of people who are getting caught up in some of these hard drugs, and they've done I got a study here somewhere, actually, that there is now you can take it for what it is, but let's see. A study here says this is out of Britain. This study is basically saying that the vast majority of people who get hooked on hard drugs, things like crack and heroin and meth, have never even tried pot. So if this study is anywhere near accurate, it's out of England, I get it. So the English aren't the same as Americans, Rod. Well, yeah, they are. So if the actual notion is that these people haven't even tried pot, and they've gone directly from being drug free to being hooked on meth, and it's really the method of how people get this stuff. It raves and clubs and other places where teenagers and college students congregate, where pot is pretty prevalent, but these people are not really smoking pot, and they're just going for the hard stuff. Well, here, try this, or it's being slipped to them somehow. The vast majority of these people, if that's the case, then that blows the whole notion that pot is a gateway drug. If they're not even doing pot, if they're not even trying it, and they're going directly for the hardcore stuff. Even if the study is in Britain is half accurate, you realize that's a significant amount of people that blows up that whole pot gateway drug theory out of the water. It just does. Look, I'm not about fanning the flames of certain beliefs here. I'm about fanning the flames of truth. And if we don't understand and know the truth, then there's no way that we can possibly accurately attack any problem that we come across. And if you're one of those people that believes that pot is a gateway drug when it's not, you're going to come up with policies and drug enforcement that is going to be misguided, misconstrued, it's going to waste a lot of money, and you're not going to have any effect whatsoever on the real problem. The real problem is like people like Barack Obama, who let certain groups of people, because of their status, bring in hard drugs into this country. That was a problem. That's still a problem. Why aren't we talking about that? Where's Jeff Sessions on that? I don't see him attacking the Obama administration. Where are people being brought up on charges for being involved in Fast and Furious? Where are people being brought up on charges against Hezbollah agents bringing in hard drugs and other, ISIS-related or terrorist-related organizations that were Muslim-based, that Obama looked the other way because he wanted to deal with Iran and he wanted to deal with Pakistan? Where is Sessions going after those people? The truth is that we do have a drug war, but it is being fought by generals who have no understanding whatsoever because they have their own stupid beliefs and they ignore the scientific fact. Because for some reason it's in their best interest to believe the old-fashioned BS. I guess that's how they keep their jobs. Because, hey, if you actually tackle the real problem and you solve the problem and bring that problem under control, well, you're not going to need as many people to go after that problem, are you? No, you're not.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people. You suck.
I didn't scare you off at all with that last diatribe, but let's be real here. We have our governments, both state and federal, and local, that seem to want to enforce certain laws that really don't make all that much sense until you start looking at the numbers. And, of course, it comes down to budgets and them not wanting to give up any dollars whatsoever. And so in order to, they have to take some of these things that they say that they believe in because they're expensive. They're expensive to utilize and enforce. Like this, for instance, here's a new program that's going to, and they're going to say, well, it's going to save us money and save, it's going to increase the safety for police officers and blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, this is not necessarily a good thing. Sure, it has its benefits. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to deny about that. And it is going to help out. In certain cases, it will help to protect the lives of police officers, which I am all for. But what we have here is state police in New York are starting to use drones on a regular basis, not in what we would normally call a crisis or criminal situation. In other words, normally if there's criminal activity going on and the police are chasing somebody, you toss up a drone. No problem with that whatsoever. Now they're talking about just actually tossing up drones, unmanned drones, to help in all cases, just to ferret out crime. Buffalo, New York is the dateline. New York State Police will soon begin using unmanned drones. Is there such a thing as a manned drone? I don't know why we have to use that word. But anyway, soon we'll be using unmanned drones to help support law enforcement missions like public safety, disaster response, and traffic safety. Everything can fall under the term public safety. Do you realize that? They use that term and they throw it out there all the time. Well, it's for public safety. Anything and everything is for public safety. Somebody doesn't shovel the sidewalk that they didn't want put in front of their property in the first place, and it's even on county property. If you don't shovel and maintain that sidewalk, they can fine you because they say it's for public safety. Well, I didn't build the sidewalk. Why do I got to maintain it? Because it's public safety. I mean, they use it for everything. The program is launching sometime later this month in January, with 4 drones, one of which will be used by the state police in western New York. The other 3 will go to state police in central New York, the Hudson River area, and the Capital Region. So central New York means my old hometown of Syracuse. So yes, Syracuse listeners, you are going to have a state police drone flying over you pretty soon. By April of this year, an additional 14 aerial drones will be deployed throughout the state. So you're going to have nearly 20 of these things in the sky, eyeing down upon you, with the reason for this being public safety. Being deployed at all times, having nothing to do with the actual crimes that may be going on the ground. Again, if you want to deploy a drone, if you want to deploy a drone when there's a crime being committed or a crime going on, I have no problem with that. But just to have it as an everyday happenstance, like a police dog, probably not a good idea. I'm sure there are going to be all kinds of lawsuits filed as far as security and privacy concerns go.
It was just another quiet Saturday at the Johnson home.
Honey, have you seen the hammer?
It's in the garage.
Oh, no, not the garage.
Later that same day...
Dad, I can't find the bicycle pump.
Son, I'm afraid it's in the garage.
The garage?
Then the following Tuesday...
Howard, where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Does your garage look like a giant yard sale without the yard? Do you cringe at the thought of entering your garage? Then you need Crest Garage Cabinets. With one phone call, those wonderful folks at Crest will come out to your home, design the best combination of cabinets for you, and install them quickly and professionally before your very eyes.
It's a miracle.
And unlike other companies who ask for a down payment or money up front, you won't pay a penny until your Crest cabinets are installed to your satisfaction. So call Crest today, toll-free at 1-800-548-2848. That's 1-800-548-2848. And you'll never fear going into your garage again.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by.
Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin, this dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Start it off with a pitcher for the table.